This makeup tutorial was sort of an answer to a few questions I've gotten from brides who maybe have to suddenly do their own makeup on their wedding day due to coronavirus. Or perhaps a bride that just wanted to do her own makeup anyway. Or let's say you're not getting married, you just have a really big event to go to. So this is a full coverage, long-lasting, really beautiful makeup look that will photograph really well. So we're gonna jump right into it soon. Really quick, all of the products will be linked right below the video, and then I'll also put a little box on the screen that you can click on at the end. But more than anything, I hope the application method teaches you something. You don't have to use the exact same products. These are tried and true. Like if I was doing my own makeup for my wedding day, this is exactly how I would want it to look. I'd do a little something more with my hair, but we're talking the makeup here. So anyway, let's get started. It's vital to pay attention to your skincare routine before your wedding day or event makeup. It makes a huge difference in the longevity of your makeup, how your skin works, how the makeup goes on. Just it really impacts the final look. So what I did is I exfoliated this morning. I put on a vitamin C serum. I put on a good rich moisturizer as my skin tends to be dry. And then I just put on a primer. I have this on my skin. This is just the Laura Mercier foundation primer. I'm gonna go for a less dewy look than I usually wear. Usually the primer I use is really hydrating, glowy, and dewy. This one is not. It's not necessarily mattifying, but it is just a basic foundation primer, and I can feel it kind of drying on my skin. And let that sit for a few minutes to really give it a chance to absorb into the skin and then be really effective. So for this makeup tutorial, I'm gonna go back to my old ways. I'm gonna do eyes first. That way, if there's any fallout, you can clean up here. And since this is like big event makeup, you want everything to look perfect. Especially, we're gonna focus a lot on the face part of it. So for eyes, I'm gonna start with some eyeshadow primer. I like this for a warm base. This is by Bare Minerals. The shade is Low Key. You apply it with a wand, and I honestly prefer to use like an eyeshadow crayon or a pot product for eyeshadow primer or just that first base color. This is a little liquidy, but I like the shade so much I'm going to use it anyway. So what I did is I just dabbed it on my finger, and I'm going all across my lid here. I'm going to go up higher than I'm actually going to wear the eyeshadow. I can blend that away at the end, but I'm just spreading this all over the lid, making sure it's even, and then I got to give this a little time to dry as well before I finish with a crease and outer corner color. So I'm picking up my Tartelette in Bloom palette and then a crease eyeshadow brush, and I've really enjoyed mixing Smarty Pants and Jet Setter together for a crease color. So I'll put my brush in Smarty Pants first. Honestly, that looks really similar in color to that eyeshadow base I just put on, and then I'll put Jet Setter right on top of it. And I'm not gonna close my eyes all the way, I'll just hold them. I'll tilt my head back and hold my eyes partially closed and just go back and forth really gently with this crease color, blending it all where my crease of my eyelid is. I don't have a very dramatic crease like some people. My eyes aren't very deep set, so I really need to just press the brush into my eyelid a little bit. You can see where I'm pushing it in. That is the crease. And now I'm gonna add a little bit of darkness to the outer corner. Really subtle though, I don't like a super smoky eye on a wedding day. So I'm picking up more of that Jet Setter, that top shade right there, closing my eye, and I'm just pressing it into the outer corner and blending it in. So then with a clean eyeshadow brush, I'm picking up Charmer. It's a really light white shade. I'm just gonna start blending away any of the edges of that darker color and just softening my eyeshadow here. I'll end up hitting this area with concealer just so everything looks even once I put foundation on, but for now I'm just using this almost like an eraser just to soften the eyeshadow area. I always just prefer to over exaggerate eyeshadow and then go back and clean it up instead of trying to stay too carefully in the lines and then end up not having like a matching side by side. I'd rather just kind of go bigger and then use a soft brush to blend it away. You can see that really helped clean it up a lot. So now I'm gonna set down the eyeshadow. We're gonna move on to eyeliner. I'm gonna choose a brown eyeliner because it will give me definition, but it won't make my eyes look smaller. It's not gonna be too dramatic. I just want this look to be really soft and romantic and beautiful. This is a Marc Jacobs eyeliner that I happen to be using here. The shade is Earthquake, and I have my smudge brush in hand. I like to take the eyeliner in stages, so I'm gonna start at the outer corner and work toward the corner, toward the inner corner. And I don't like a really heavy line of eyeliner on my lid. So I'm just putting the product on here. And then before I get too close to the center where my eye color is, I'm gonna stop and start using the brush, this smudge brush, to pull the product in a little further and just soften that line. If there's one thing you do on your wedding day, smudge out your eyeliner, especially on your lower lash line. There's nothing worse than like a very dramatic, uneven line of liner under your eye. It'll pull your eye down and kind of take away from your eye makeup look, and it'll end up doing the opposite of what you're hoping for it to do. So I'm blending the eyeliner all the way into my inner corner, but you'll notice I didn't add more product. I'm gonna do the same thing on my right eye, starting with the eyeliner on the outer corner, going to about the colored part of my eye. You can always add more, but it's pretty frustrating if you need to wipe off your eye makeup look and you've gotten to this point. What I like about this specific smudge brush, which is a little bit hard to find right now, is the bristles on the tip here are so tightly packed. So you can really treat it like an eraser. It doesn't over smudge. I couldn't love it more. It's the perfect brush for me for this specific task. So here's eyeliner finished at this point. Now I always like to add a little flick, but I'm gonna save that for after foundation and concealer. I want concealer to go all here, and if I do my cat eye flick now, I'm going to erase it and just run into some trouble. So what I will do at this point is add a little bit of liquid liner right to the base of my lashes. This creates a thicker lash line. And also, since we didn't use a really dark black inky liner, this will give you a little definition without making the eyeliner on top of your lid look way too heavy. Okay, so I'm going to hit pause on the eyes now. I'll back up the camera a little bit and we're gonna move on to the face. So one other advantage to doing the eyes first is it gives your makeup primer even more time to settle in. I am pumping a full coverage foundation onto my brush. This is just how I've enjoyed applying foundation these days, and I'm just gonna go along with dots and sort of spread it out so I'm not like globbing too much of it in one place. So I'm just spreading it. Use brushes like this for your face products on event day or wedding day. You're just gonna get a more professional finish. You won't be adding any oils from your hands, fingertips, anything that could counteract your makeup. And you can really see the final effect. You'll also get probably a fuller coverage finish with a brush. So now I'm just going through soft circles and putting the foundation on. Do not forget to go onto your ears, and do not forget to go beyond your jawline and just buff it into your neck. What I like to do is I'm pressing harder here, and then as I work my way down, I'm pulling my hand away from my body a little bit so I'm not really going too hard with the makeup down here. You just want it to look like it's a transition. Also, don't forget this part of your nose. If you're a crier and it's your wedding day, you'll probably be wiping your nose as well, since that at least happens to me when I cry. So if you can get a little foundation under there, you may help your makeup look nice and smooth. I'm lifting my hair a little bit and just making sure I'm buffing that foundation. I'm not going into my hairline, but I'm going right to the edges. See how this foundation is coming right up under my eyelid here. If I would have done a cat eye already, I would have created a few problems for myself. So more soft circles. At this point, start to notice any areas of your face that may need blemish concealing. Pleased to report that my skin has been really good, which is not always the case if you've watched other makeup tutorials from me. So I am going to simply move on to eye concealer. I'm starting with the Bobbi Brown Porcelain Peach Corrector. This product is optional, does really help brighten your under eyes. I'm using my ring finger and my finger, not a brush. I know I just told you to use brushes. I personally love using my finger for under eye concealer because the warmth of my finger softens the product and I can really push it in. You could certainly use a brush for this step, but this is just my favorite. I've used brushes, I've used my finger. I always go back to my finger. This product is a corrector. It's not a concealer. I know it looks like it's concealing, and it'll make a difference, but it is not the final product. This is correcting the under eye darkness. Peach is a little bit orange, and orange is opposite of blue on the color wheel, so it counteracts blue. And blue is the tone you see in dark under eye circles. I don't necessarily have puffy under eyes, but I do have dark circles. So now I'm gonna grab my favorite concealer. This is Charlotte Tilbury's Magic Away. I do hate the applicator, I've told you that 1,000 times. I mean, what a mess, but the product is so good. So I've just put the corrector on. I'm going right over top with the concealer, and in an effort to not smudge it away, I'm just gonna dot this on. Some people may use this applicator as the blending tool. I find it a little challenging to work with, so instead I will just get back in there with my ring finger. I'm not pulling the skin, I'm just pressing it in. With any concealer that's left on my finger, I'm going to go up to the eye area again. I will be doing eyebrow pencil soon, so this will just help the eyebrow pencil kind of stay in place and also even out the look. Otherwise, if I wasn't going to do this, I would have no foundation or no base on my eyelid at this point, right up by my brow, and it could look a little uneven in pictures. So the last thing for under eye concealer is using this Secret Brightening Powder for Under Eyes by Laura Mercier. I love this product. I'm grabbing a clean eyeshadow brush. This is a loose powder, and I'm just going to very carefully press it into my under eye area. I'm barely touching my skin. This sets concealer. It'll prevent any mascara from smudging under your eye area. And it also should help your concealer from creasing since it kind of sets it in place. I'm going to move on to eyebrows now. I'm using an Anastasia pencil, the Brow Wiz, and simply filling in where, if I had a little bit more natural eyebrow hair, where I guessed that it would grow. I'm starting with blonde here, and I think I'll probably end up going in with a darker eyebrow pencil I have for the outer part of my brow. I like to follow the top line of my eyebrow. It pretty much ends, you can see, like not far after the colored part of my eye. So from there, it's just a guessing game, and I really try and mimic the eyebrow shape from the past makeup artists that have done makeup on me. And it pretty much just follows the natural fall of your hand. I'm not trying to pull it down too much. I'm not trying to overarch my brow. Notice I'm turning my head to see all the angles to make sure it makes sense. I'm going to leave this one here. I'm not finished with it, but I'm going to move on to this side. And whenever I do my eyebrows, I always get asked why I don't microblade my brows. I don't have anything against it. I just don't want the commitment. I'm probably a perfect candidate for microblading since I really don't have a lot of eyebrow hair at all. But I just don't think I'm going to do that. I don't think it's for me. Following the natural flow over here, I feel like I have a little bit more eyebrow hair on this right side, and I almost never tweeze my brows. So if you are wondering why I tweeze them to be so thin, I don't. I wish I had more of a natural brow. And I honestly didn't over tweeze in the 90s either. I just don't have a lot of hair. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to look straight onto my mirror, compare the arch, and then make sure the tail of the eyebrow kind of ends in the right spot. This one needs to go a little further, barely. Yeah, I think that did it. I then take the spoolie end of the brush, or the eyebrow pencil, and just brush away at the beginning here. I ideally wouldn't want any pencil strokes to be noticeable, but I do want the darkness to make it look like my brow is complete. So at this point, I just go back and forth. I add a little bit more darkness if I need to. I make sure they're even, and then I can go through with the spoolie, kind of brush those strokes away. My eyebrow hairs are not long enough to need like a clear brow gel. Some people use the spoolie to brush their eyebrows in place. I don't even have hair long enough to be out of place. Okay, I'm going to move on from eyebrows now, but that is where I will leave those. I am going to add a little bit of darkness. This is a different eyebrow pencil, an ash brown, a darker color. I'm only going in here just to add a touch of darkness. Okay, I'm going to leave them there. Eyebrows are supposed to be sisters, not twins. Just remember that. We're going to move back to eyeliner now. I'm picking up that original brown eyeliner I used on my upper lid, and then that same smudge brush. My favorite trick for doing a really easy, super easy and subtle cat eye, this is very subtle, is taking this brush and rubbing it right against the eyeliner. Then closing this so you don't drop it onto your shirt, as I've done 1,000 times. And then I'll use this brush to apply the eyeliner. I'm going to pull my eye out just a little bit, and I'm sort of aimed up as if I wanted to meet the end of my eyebrow. Don't do that, but that is where I'm aimed. It helps give the eye a little lifted effect. I'm going to add a little more product. This eyeliner is slightly more dry than a Charlotte Tilbury one I use very regularly, and that one's very creamy. All right. Look in this mirror here. So this is where it gets hard, but again, kind of like eyebrows, you do your best with your flick. Ideally, they're the same length. I'll take that. So moving on to your lower lash line, I'm going to do the same technique I just did for that little cat eye flick for my lower lash line. So I'm putting product on the brush. Doing this will also make sure that you don't put on too strong of a lower lash line liner. I'm just looking, my head's kind of tilted down, and I'm just going to apply the product right where my lashes are. You can always add more. You want this to kind of look like a shadow instead of a really strong line. So that's where I'll leave that side. I'm going to pick up a little more product and then go through on my right. I'm not going all the way into my inner corner because this isn't a really dark, smoky eye. You just really want to accentuate what you have and add some definition. If you go too heavy, take your finger and smudge that product out. Just don't use the same finger for smudging because you'll just blend it down. I'm just trying to even these sides out. I'll leave the eyeliner there. Next step is mascara, which I am going to do off camera just because I have to get so close to the mirror, but find your favorite mascara. I have a lash lift left over on my lashes. I kind of need a new one, but I'm just letting this one grow out a little bit. A lash lift is like a lash perm. Use a eyelash curler. If you want to do false eyelashes, you do you. I personally would not want to mess with the weight of those and the discomfort of wearing those on my wedding day. And it's you. So hopefully whoever's at the end of the aisle just wants to see you in your like purest form. Maybe not rolling out of bed, but you know what I'm saying. So I'm just going to do mascara. Honestly, if I was getting married this weekend, I'd probably just wear mascara as well instead of doing false lashes. But again, you do you if you want to do false lashes. After mascara, we'll go into the face and that'll really transform the whole makeup look. So mascara is done. We're going to move on to the face. I'm going to do a little bit of contouring. My favorite highlight and contour palette is this one by Charlotte Tilbury. It's the Film Star Bronze and Glow. I like using kind of a pointed brush for contouring, and I'm just going to pick up this contour color and go right under my cheekbones. This is my bone. I'm going to go right under here. And then I'll go up to the outer part of my forehead. You can see this is a really subtle contour. I still want to look like myself. I just want to add a little bit more definition to my face since I flattened it all out with foundation. And then I'm going along my jawline here and then down my neck. And I'll repeat this same contour pattern on my right side. Essentially, I'm making the number 3. See, I'm starting here, going under the cheekbone, and then under the jawline and down the neck a little bit. So don't use a contour where you would use bronze, or don't use a bronzing powder where you would use contour. The point of contour is to make it look like your face is defined, not necessarily to add warmth to that area. You want to add a shadow. So contour powders are more gray in tone, and they're supposed to be. So we're going along the jawline here, just blending everything back, down the neck. That's key for your makeup looking really soft and flowing with photos. And we'll just make sure we're even here on both sides. And then I'm going to go in with some highlight. Actually, before I do highlight, get these hairs off my face, we're going to add a little bit of bronzer. This is a really fluffy bronzing brush, and then I've been using the NARS Laguna bronzer, such a classic. I like using a really big fluffy brush for bronzer, and I'm just pressing the product in and gently tapping just really the outside of my face. I'm not being as specific as I was with the contour brush. Just want to add warmth all around and also down my neck and onto my ears so everything looks even. So bronzer is finished. I'm going to do blush and then highlight. My favorite blush, and so I have to use it. If I was getting married, I would wear this blush, is the NARS Liquid Blush. The shade is Orgasm. I'm just going to pump a little bit of it to the back of my hand here. You can always add more. So I'm just going to leave that dot there and then grab a blush brush. And I focus on really just dotting the product onto the apples of my cheek, which are easy to find if you smile. And then blend it out with soft circles. I apologize if you can hear that landscaping at my neighbor's house. It's quite loud. Now I'm grabbing highlighter. This is a flatter, smaller brush than what I used for contour and bronzer. And I'm going to put this at the top of my cheekbone, just brushing back and forth. And then I'll go to the center of my forehead, down my nose, Cupid's bow, which is this part of your lip, and then maybe hit my chin just to balance everything out. I like a really natural looking highlight. As you can see the reflection, but when you look at my face as a whole, it's not like it's standing out too much, right? Like it adds the height back to this part of my cheekbone, which is what you want, but doesn't look too dramatic. So at this point before lip color, I'm going to use a setting spray. This all-nighter setting spray is amazing. Your makeup will last all night. Now I haven't used it in a minute, so I'm going to make sure it sprays okay. I'll spray or get all my hair out of my face and then just kind of do a pan with the spray. And then let that dry. If you're nervous to do this with your eye makeup in place, you're nervous it's going to make it run. One, it shouldn't. And two, you could always do your face, do the setting spray I just did, and then go back in with your eye makeup if you would feel better about that. I've never had a problem of that setting spray adjusting or messing up my eye makeup, but I can understand spraying yourself with the wet spray is like, but I just did my eyes. This is a really nice mist. Another setting spray I love is by Hourglass, but this one I know is good for wedding day because your makeup will not budge, trust. So moving on to lips, I'm going to use the Pillow Talk Lip Liner by Charlotte Tilbury. I honestly don't like this shade of lipstick on me, but I'm just going to use this to line the lips. Lining your lips helps keep your lipstick in place. It helps give your lips a little bit of definition, and don't feel like you need to overline to make your lips look bigger than they actually are unless you want to. Again, you do whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm just, see how my lip color kind of fades? That's mainly where I'm going to focus the lip liner. So my lips are lined. There's nothing better than a classic pink nude lipstick. This shade by Bobbi Brown is called Pink Nude. I like a little bit of pink. I think it looks fresh and youthful on the wedding day instead of something totally flat and nude. But this one looks a touch brown on me. So I'm going to go in with this shade and then finish in the center of my lips with Pink Cloud, also another Bobbi Brown lipstick. So this is Pink Nude. Now I have Pink Cloud. This can veer a little chalky for me. I like a kind of chalky bright pink, but I'm just gonna focus it at the center of my lips. So this is the final makeup look. Your options from here would be to add in individual false lashes if you wanted a touch of extra definition, especially in the outer corner of your eyes. You could also line your upper waterline, which is that inner part of your eyelid. That gives your eyes a ton of pop and depth. I think that looks really beautiful. It can be a little uncomfortable to wear, so more than maybe going for the most dramatic look, make sure you're wearing makeup that you feel comfortable wearing. Try this out a few times before your wedding day. Practice, tweak, look at yourself from all angles. Make sure you're happy with the coloring and all of that. More than anything, you really cannot beat the pure excitement and joy on your face on your wedding day. So while makeup matters, it matters for photos, it matters to help you feel beautiful and ready for this special day, knowing that this is such a big moment is going to just shine through. So don't over worry about your makeup. I'm sure you will look beautiful. I'm sure you can do it. If you want to know any of the products I used in this tutorial, you can find them linked right here on the screen, or you can also click the link right below the video.